which means that those people who have not yet applied for a green card but are planning to apply for a green card will probably never become eligible for the green card at all. So in that sense, immigration doors are virtually shut if you were born in India. So what will you do with a stupid green card if you are not living a good life then? The truth is, and remember, the truth is that you were never really looking for a green card. We were all looking to live a good life. Recently, just about 2 weeks ago, someone sent me the following question. Do you think studying in USA for undergrad masters for 6 years and then working on OPT, H1B and all that struggle is worth it for American dream, which is the green card? And I responded back to this person. What my response was, I will tell you soon. But what happened is that for the last month or so, I started noticing a trend going on online. In fact, even influential and famous people such as Vivek Wadhwa, who recently met Prime Minister Modi in India, wrote such a shocking tweet. He says, and I read this tweet, I no longer advise foreign students to stay in US after graduation or tech workers to waste their lives as H1Bs because they are taken advantage of by tech companies who know they are locked in for decades. And when he says locked in for decades, he means locked in for green card backlog for decades. He essentially said that people are better off going elsewhere than trying to settle in the US. And the reason he says such a thing is because of the extent of green card backlogs in America, particularly those who were born in severely backlogged countries in the green card process such as India. And these are not just one or two of people who have such a view. There are many people in fact. For example, read this tweet. It says, for those of us stuck on H1B, it is not only a life of wasted potential, but also that of a great human rights tragedy. No one cares for our human rights because we are not the chosen victim group by the woke progressives. And then he goes on and says that there are better opportunities for a startup in India and Singapore than in the US now. And to take the matter further, let us look at this tweet by a physician in the US, Dr. Raj Karnatak. Let us see what he says. And I quote him, while I am still waiting in decades of inhuman green card backlog, I see physicians, those who came to the US a decade after me, receive their green cards and many already citizens. I can't change where I was born. US must stop country of birth discrimination in 2023. Happy New Year. And many people believe that because of the extent of immigration difficulty in the US, a lot of good talent will be forced to go out to other countries such as Australia or Canada. In a sarcastic and humorous post, Robert Weber, who is an immigration attorney, compares this picture to the state of mind of Indian students in particular and says that they are all likely to favor other countries such as Australia and Canada, which may have a bit of an easier immigration process than the United States. But all that said and done, the United States continues to be one of the top, if not the absolute top destination for international students and workers. So why is this happening then? In a tweet by Dr. Raj Karnatak, Mr. Hamza points out when he says that, well, it's a choice. Millions still make this choice to come here and stay. If life would be better back home, why they decided to come? The goal of F1 is to go back, but that's a door to come to the USA, and many just come not for the sake of higher education, but it is a gateway. So all he's saying is that for the most part, he thinks that many students come not just for education, but it is one of the routes to immigrate to the US. And I think what he's trying to say is that life in the US generally tends to be better than most countries. The opportunities and the variety of opportunities tend to be the best in the United States. And see, the only reason some might favor Canada and Australia and countries as such is because of easier immigration process rather than the opportunities that they can get. Because when it comes to opportunities, let's be real, the best are in the United States. Then therefore, when it comes to opportunities, the US continues to be a top destination for most people. Just that over time, the immigration hassles have increased so much that even there are opportunities, these hassles prevent you from taking advantage of those opportunities. But people also argue that India has more opportunities than ever before. Well, it is true, but struggles of daily life in overcrowded and polluted metro cities in India dampen the morale of the people when they are visiting India and considering moving back for good. So what people do is that they make a choice between struggling in this way or that way. So what people do is that they prefer to struggle with visa hassles in the US rather than struggling with daily life issues in other countries such as India. And when I say daily life struggles, it means finding a parking, driving a car, getting stuck in traffic, pollution issues, and then you have bureaucratic problems. all such issues that people face. Therefore, not all, but for the most people, only when they have no option left, absolutely no option left, is when they buy a one-way ticket to India. In one of my previous videos, I discussed the root cause of the backlog. To summarize it quickly, what happened is that when it comes to H1B visa, there are no country caps whatsoever, because as it is specified, it is a temporary work permit. It is a temporary work visa. It is not a visa to settle permanently. You have to apply for a green card to settle here. Now, what happens is that when it comes to work visa, which is temporary, there are no country caps and as many people from any one or two countries can come. However, when it comes to permanently settling down through employment route, they impose per country caps so that they can maintain the diversity and saturation of people from one country can be prevented. And that was the idea behind imposing per country caps. The idea was that companies can get as many temporary workers as they like. However, they will only sponsor the best of them for a green card. Therefore, green card per country cap should not be an issue at all. But that is not what actually happened. What happened is that how much ever people came, they all started applying for green card. There was no differentiation between best of the best versus an average worker. And even with this per country cap for the first 15 years or so, there were no backlog issues. People were getting their green cards fairly easily. But for the last 10 to 15 years, there has been an explosion in the number of applications for the green card. And that has created a bad backlog situation. The situation is now so bad that if you apply for a green card now, your adjustment date will not become current in the foreseeable future, which means that those people who have not yet applied for a green card but are planning to apply for a green card will probably never become eligible for the green card at all. So in that sense, immigration doors are virtually shut if you were born in India. Now that begs an answer to a very important question. Is the F1 to OPT to H1B to green card process still viable? My response is that it all comes down to the mindset of an individual person. If the mindset is that I'm here for a few years and then I will go back, then there is no problem at all. The real problem comes in when, even though someone may have that mindset, but that mindset eventually changes. And that change typically happens when people go to India for a visit and then experience the stark difference in the quality of life of general people, especially when they see those daily struggles. Yes, India has many opportunities now. India is a prospering economy, but it is prospering as a whole. When it comes to an individual level, the struggles are still there. When you look at an individual level, the per capita income of a person in India is only about $2,300, whereas per capita income of an American tends to be around $71,000, which is 31 times difference between the two countries. And that is where the difference in the quality of daily life comes in. But what can you do? You cannot give yourself a green card, right? So coming back to the original question, is all the struggle worth it of F1 to OPT to H1B to green card? Is this still viable? Now I will be very brutally honest. My view is that this question itself has a flaw. I instead suggest that a right perspective is needed in this case. Let me explain. It is like asking if taking a cab, going all the way to the airport, going through security checks, sitting in a plane to go to a different city, is it all worth getting that free coffee in the plane? The answer is no. Well, you should not have all these things to begin with if a cup of coffee is all you wanted. My point is that if you want to get three things: first, good quality education; second, good quality work experience; and third, proper international exposure. If these are the three things you're looking for, then absolutely yes, you should come to the US and pursue education and get some work experience here. Because all these three things, good education, good work experience and international exposure, are all aimed at giving you a good life. However, if your aim is to come to the US and get a green card, then my view is that it is just a bad attitude. Why do I say that? Let us look at things in a proper perspective. See, there are many homeless people in the US, right? Do they have to struggle with green cards? No, they were born here, but are they still living a good life? Not at all. They are also living in the same country where you want to live, but are they living a good life? No. So what will you do with a stupid green card if you are not living a good life then? The truth is, and remember, the truth is that you were never really looking for a green card. We were all looking to live a good life. And you can live a good life and make good money in any country if you have the right knowledge and the right skills. So the harsh truth is that if people are giving themselves false hopes that they will be able to settle here, then they are in for a lot of pain. But if you consider living in the US, although temporarily, a privilege, an opportunity to gain education and get some good work experience, then you are on the right track. Because Let us be truthful. If you are careful enough and are financially prudent, you can save more money while living in the US than any other country in this world, for the most part. You are more likely to get financial freedom during your time here, and later you can live a more comfortable life in some other country. So use this time, however long or short time you have here, and take advantage of those learning opportunities and those earning opportunities both. I hope that makes sense. Thank you for watching. Jai Hind and God bless America.